Welcome back to my channel Sir Boats Yacht, and thank you for joining me today as we take a long, focused look at one of the most celebrated classic motor yachts in the world, Talitha. In this episode 1, want to walk you through what makes Talitha an enduring ocean icon, from the bones of her naval architecture to the warmth of the wood in her salons and the engineering that keeps her steady at sea. Whether you love classic yacht design history or you are simply curious about how an 80 meters yacht from the 1930s can still feel contemporary and relevant, this video will give you a clear picture. I will keep the language friendly so anyone can follow along, while also dropping in the technical detail yacht lovers and prospective owners appreciate. So relax and imagine the teak under your feet and the bow parting the water as we begin our deep dive into Talitha. Talitha's headline specifications tell you the scale of the project and the promise of the experience aboard. She measures roughly 82.6 meters overall, which is already a strong visual cue that this is a true ocean-going yacht capable of hosting extended cruises and serious onboard living space. Her gross tonnage sits at about 1100, which translates into internal volume and explains why designers could create large salons, private suites and service spaces while still keeping elegant public areas. The original hull and superstructure were built in steel, which is significant because that material choice provides solidity and seakeeping characteristics prized in blue water cruising. Early plans and later refits kept the traditional silhouette intact while allowing modern mechanical and safety systems to be integrated, so you get authenticity without compromising practical standards. The combination of classical exterior proportions and a volume large enough for high-quality interior design is one of the first things you notice about Talitha, and it sets expectations for everything else you discover on board. When we talk about design, the word balance comes up again and again. Talitha's exterior profile is very much a product of its era. The clipper bow, long graceful overhangs and a low but distinguished superstructure all speak the language of the late 1920s and early 1930s naval styling. That heritage silhouette was carefully preserved during subsequent restorations, so from a distance Talitha reads like a vintage poster of yachting glamour. Up close, the integration of modern elements has been subtle and intelligent. Decks are traditionally laid in teak, which not only looks sumptuous in photographs but also plays a practical role by offering grip and weather resistance. The railings, the proportion of windows to solid bulwarks and the gentle rake of the mast and funnels were all considered to preserve visual harmony. Designers who worked on later refits were mindful to enhance safety and comfort without creating visual dissonance. The net result is a yacht that feels like a time capsule yet moves and lives like a modern vessel because its exterior has been carefully reconciled with up-to-date systems and safety standards. Moving inside Talitha is like stepping into a well-curated private house that happens to float on the sea. The main salon is intentionally generous in scale, with a layout that encourages conversation and socializing, rather than mere display. Rich wood paneling and veneers are used to create depth and warmth, while lighter ceiling treatments and well-placed windows ensure the space never feels heavy. The dining room usually sits close to the salon and is organized for formal dining, with a table that can seat an entire party comfortably. Good interior design on classic yachts aims to make movement effortless. Sight lines are clear and circulation between the salon dining area and outdoor decks flows naturally. The library or lounge offers a quieter alternative to the main salon and is often outfitted with built-in bookcases, comfortable seating and a softer palette to invite reading and reflection. The master suite is typically a full beam cabin that offers maximum privacy and space, with a separate sitting area and an ensuite bathroom that uses materials like marble or high-grade stone to create a sense of occasion. Guest cabins balance comfort and privacy with careful use of materials to keep the classic character intact while delivering contemporary standards of thermal comfort and climate control. Modern details such as efficient HVAC, discrete audio-visual integration and well-thought-out storage keep the interior from feeling like a museum piece. Instead, everything is designed to be usable and comfortable for prolonged stays. Some refits added wellness areas or small fitness spaces to make long cruising itineraries more pleasant, which shows how a historic yacht can be adapted to modern travel expectations. For viewers who love technical detail, here is where Talitha's specification and engineering choices matter and explain her handling characteristics. Twin diesel Caterpillar engines provide the primary motive power. And while Talitha is not built for high-speed sprinting, her propulsion system is tuned for steady, safe cruising. The propulsion choice and the weight of a steel hull means she offers a very comfortable motion in typical open water conditions. She generally cruises in the low to mid-teens in knots, and that sweet spot is chosen intentionally to optimize fuel consumption, reduce strain on the structure and ensure exceptional ride comfort. On longer passages, fuel capacity is substantial, which gives her range measured in thousands of nautical miles, allowing long voyages without frequent refueling stops. The large tanks and efficient cruising speed make Talitha ideal for owners who prefer extended itineraries and fewer interruptions. For operational logistics, stabilizers, bow thrusters and modern navigation aids fitted during refits improve station keeping and make docking in ports profile friendly. Even though the yacht is large and because the mechanical systems are maintained to modern service standards, she offers both vintage charm and reliable performance that an owner can count on when planning long trips. Beyond numbers, the way Talitha feels underway is worth describing because performance is ultimately about human experience. The momentum of a heavy displacement hull slicing through waves produces a gentle, predictable motion that many sailors and passengers prefer to violent acceleration and sharp turns. Passenger comfort is improved by the yacht's thoughtful weight distribution, solid keel geometry and the presence of mechanical stabilizing systems that counter roll-in beam seas. In practice, this means dinner on board is less likely to be upset by chop and that sleeping below decks stays restful while crossing through busy or exposed stretches of water. The trade-off is that acceleration and top-end speed are modest compared to aluminium or composite planing yachts, but for most owners of a classic motor yacht that is acceptable because the experience prioritizes serenity, aesthetic and long-range capability over sporty performance. Modern maintenance philosophy also matters, so when engines, gearboxes and generators receive scheduled overhauls, the yacht keeps predictable fuel burn rates and power margins, which are crucial for expedition planning and safety at sea. A vessel like Talitha sells itself on intangible qualities that statistics only partially capture. Her story and provenance are as important as her equipment and layout, which is why her history reads like a short maritime novel, from her early life under a different name through wartime service and multiple restorations to her more recent ownership. Her provenance gives the yacht narrative weight and authenticity that history adds value in three ways. First, it connects the vessel to maritime and cultural history, which appeals to collectors and institutions. Second, it frames the restoration work so that refits are viewed as conservation rather than replacement. And thirdly, it builds mystique and desirability for people who want ownership to feel like stewardship rather than simple possession. The team who restored and updated Talitha across decades were careful to preserve defining features, for example interior proportions and key design cues that make the yacht unmistakable, while integrating modern safety equipment and creature comforts that make contemporary use realistic and sustainable. When you consider the unique selling points of Talitha, several threads come together. The first is authenticity. She is genuinely historic with original lines, period, proportions and design DNA that cannot be manufactured overnight. The next is the scale of refinement. Her internal volume allowed designers and craftspeople to create rooms with the proportions expected of a private house, rather than the compact spaces of many modern yachts. The third point is adaptability. She has been sympathetically refitted several times, so she carries modern mechanical systems, safety gear and creature comforts while retaining the visual cues owners and guests adore. The fourth is range and capability. Her tankage and efficient cruising speed mean that long passages are feasible and comfortable. Finally, the sense of ownership that comes with her private nature makes Talitha appealing to people who want a quiet profile rather than a charter icon, combined with the kind of craftsmanship you only find when the owner or their agents invest in high-level restoration and maintenance. For the video review format, you should plan shots that match each idea, because visual storytelling will sell the yacht better than any single paragraph of narration. Start the film with exterior panning shots at golden hour to capture the silhouette and teak decks, then move to a slow walk through the main salon, capturing the texture of wood joinery, the flow of natural light, and the scale of seating areas. Close-ups of craftsmanship like inlay details, hardware and bespoke furniture add authority to claims about quality for performance coverage. Use calm sea footage showing smooth wake and the steaming. Shot at cruising speed linking what viewers saw in the ship spec to a real-world behavior. Interviews with crew or the captain add credibility when they speak about systems and maintenance schedules. If you have access to technical spaces, a concise cutaway to the engine room with the camera focusing on fuel lines, generators and control panels will satisfy the technically minded, while not overwhelming casual viewers. Pay attention to audio because the hush of teak underfoot, the sound of wind through rigging and the subtle hum of a properly tuned generator are part of the yacht's personality and will translate well to viewers at home. There are practical ownership considerations that wise prospective buyers and enthusiasts should understand. Classic yachts require dedicated maintenance regimes and respect for historical materials and building methods. A steel hull needs corrosion control painting and cathodic protection. The wooden finishes require controlled humidity and careful cleaning to maintain veneers and joints. Modern mechanical elements should be documented with service history and vendors for parts identified to avoid expensive delays in remote locations. Crew sizing and hospitality staff are integral to the experience because much of the yacht's appeal is in the service model the crew provides, so budgeting for trained crew and operational overheads is part of realistic ownership planning. Many owners who buy classic vessels do so knowing they're custodians and that long-term value depends on continuous investment in maintenance and selective modernization, which preserves both safety and historic integrity. As we wrap up, Talitha is a wonderful example of the balance between preservation and practicality. She shows that a yacht born in the age of Art Deco can still be a living boat used for long trips today. Her charm is not only in the lines and materials but in the way those lines have been respected and maintained by owners and shipyards across decades. For me, Talitha represents a philosophy of ownership where heritage and utility are partners rather than rivals, and where travel on the water becomes an aesthetic and emotional experience as much as a logistical one. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Talitha, let me know in the comments if you want a detailed cabin by cabin walk through, a crew interview or a technical tour of the engine room. We'll put timestamps in the description so you can jump to the sections you care most about, and I will add links to credible sources if you want to read the original histories and refit articles. Please like, share and subscribe to Sir Boats Yacht for more classic yacht profiles, sea trials and restoration stories, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss new episodes. Thank you for watching and I'll see you on deck next time.